in the language, we needn't in the call in the calling of the method, we needn't to specify which implementation to call. It will be automatically selected by the language. For example, like this, the polygon, we knew a rectangle, and the polygon, actually the polygon is a reference to the superclass, and it calls the draw of this. It calls the draw method of the superclass, but actually the object is an object. This is the object of the rectangle. It means that the object belonging to the subclass, but in the calling of the draw method of the superclass, the language will select the implementation in the rectangle class. It means in the subclass. But if you knew a triangle here, it means this object is a new object of the triangle. Although you are calling the draw of the superclass, the language, the old language will use the implementation of the triangle. It means although you are drawing the operation of the superclass, the language will automatically select an appropriate implementation or appropriate method for the operation in the superclass. This is called the polymorphism. This is a very important characteristic for the object-oriented modeling. We will explain this further. So, what is OO development? Development usually refers to the software life cycles from the analyze to design and implementation. And OO development is a way of thinking about software based on abstraction that exists in real world as well as in the program. It means that OO development is a kind of method to understanding the software, and it involves in and it will be used to understanding understanding the problems, and used to designing the system and the architecture and so on, using the object-based techniques. And the essence of OO development is identification and organization of application concept. It means that we're working on the concept rather than their final representation in a programming language. It means during the development, during the object-oriented development process, we mainly focus on the concept. It means we focus on the understanding the system, to designing the system, and to solve the problems in the system design, and so on. It means we're working on the concept. It means so modeling concept, not implementation. Why we need to working on concept? Because design flaws that surface during implementation are more costly to fix than those that are found earlier. What does it mean? It means that if we have beginning to implement the software using programming languages, if we find flaws or find some errors after we have implemented most of the parts. For example, after we have implemented 70% of the software, but we have found some design problems or found some fatal errors, then if we want to correct this, it will be very costly. But if we can find this kind of problems or find this kind of fatal errors during the designing phase, we can fix or we can change the design, change the architecture of the system easily, and changing the for example, changing the communication method of selecting another algorithm or selecting another architecture. It means a premature focus on implementation restricts designing choice and often leads to an inferior product. It means that if we focus on implementation, we will cannot designing the system appropriately. Sometimes the implementation will restrict the choice of the architecture, the choice of the algorithm, and so on. And all approach encourages developers to work and think on the concept of the application. It means that this kind of object-oriented techniques, because it use some notations and all of the analysis and the programmer and some domain experts, they need to, in the OO development, they need to work on some notations, work on some, for example, work on some different kind of diagrams, and to communicate with each other. After all of them agree with each other, and they have walked through all of the process of the system, and after they have thought that, okay, this system is what we want, then we can begin the implementation. It means that after they have think on the concept of the application and they have think it over, and it will be helpful to find problems earlier and to fix the errors or change the design earlier, change the design before implement it. And the OO development is a conceptual process independent of a programming language until the final stage. It means that before we implement the system, we only work on the concept, work on the notations, some graphical notations, which is designed to the modeling techniques. It means before implement the system, we only need to work on some professional graphical notations of the object-oriented modeling. For example, we can use the class diagram, sequence diagram, activity diagram, and so on. We need only to working on these notations, with only working on these graphical notations, without considering how to implement them using a programming language. And we're only working on the concept of how these different objects communicate with each other, how to how will these objects behavior or communicate with each other, and using all of these are expressed using some graphical notations rather than a detailed programming language. So after we worked on this these notations, and when there is no problems, we can implement the software finally. So for the OO methodology, it is there are two parts. The first one is the process for OO development. It consists of system conception, analysis, system design, class design, and implementation. And another one is some graphical notations for presenting OO concepts. It means, just now we have mentioned, we're working on the concept. But how could we work on the concept? We need to some notations to help us to understand these ideas, understand this concept. It is the class diagram, state diagram, active diagram, and so on. And the process consists of building a model of an application and then adding details to it during design. It means through these different processes, we need to develop some models, and the same seamless notations is used from analyze to design to express this model. It means that we need some notations to express the models designed or in the models completed from the system concept to the implementation. And after we have, and in this course we will learn all of this process and learn how to use these notations to build these models or to express these models used in this process. And for example, in the analyze phase, we will build a model. We will build a model, and this model will also be some details will be added to the model in the system design, and it will also be elaborated during further class design stage and so on. It means that the model will be more and more details will be added to the same model, and sometimes the model can be changed or can be fixed in some new stages. And finally, after all of this process, we will get a final model. It will be used to implement. And so